Hello, good afternoon, good evening if you're in other parts of the world, and seriously, good morning to my very special guest today, Bodin Pollard, live from Melbourne. Melbourne suburbs, would that be correct?
Yes, the outer west, Stephen. I'm in the outer western suburbs, or as they say in the classics, west side.
With some gang signs thrown in there. To welcome again everyone who's joined us from all corners of the globe, whether you're in Melbourne or Glasgow or Timbuktu for that matter, then you're very, very welcome indeed, whether you're watching live right now or of course if you're watching recorded at another time when you're not supposed to be in your bed like some people. Last week we had a fantastic guest on the show, Stephen Koskow from Dynatrace. We spoke a lot about video being used as a communications tool for direct comms with candidates going through the hiring process, and ways in which you can make the process of hiring much more engaging, much more amenable, much more human when you're communicating directly with candidates and taking them through that whole hiring process, which in previous times has been, has become kind of cold when it's all emails or letters or instructions to do this, that, and the other, requests to take psychometric assessments, taking video recording one-sided. All of those things can diminish the benefit on the candidate side of things. So we had a great talk about that last week. This week, our very, very special guest is my colleague with an umlaut, Bodin Pollard, Head of Customer Success at VideoMyJob. Bodin, you are very welcome, and thanks for getting up in the middle of the bleeding night.
That's a pleasure, Stephen. Good to be here, mate.
Yeah. So, Bodin, I've over the past 6-8 months tuned in more to my Australian accent. How well do you think you've tuned into a strong Glaswegian brogue?
Well, you saw my attempt on that video that I made a little while ago, where I finished with the Braveheart reference. I think I have a lot of work to do in this area. I'm not there yet.
I have to say, whenever Australians mention Braveheart, it's a bit of a no-no. It's a hot potato in Scotland, because whilst the character in Braveheart might well be, a bit of a hero and all, when you've got an Australian doing it with a really dodgy accent and a very loose association with historical fact, then maybe that shouldn't be done.
I think it's a bit like how we all get offended when we get told that we drink Foster's, because literally that beer does not exist in Australia. It's a complete myth.
No way. You're going to tell me now that Castlemaine 4X doesn't exist either?
Only in Queensland. And that's not really Australia.
Okay.
Did I just say that?
Well, it's all, you can say these things about Australia because it's the middle of the night and they're all sleeping. So don't you say everything that you want to. It's absolutely fine. Can I bring people up a little bit to speed? As we said, you are Head of Customer Success with VideoMyJob. You've been with the company for the past 10, 11 months now?
Yeah, about that, 10 months.
But you've been in customer success since before it was called customer success for the past, 9, almost 10 years. Essentially, making sure that customers of the companies you've been working with were using whatever technology was being involved to its best effect. So can I ask you if we can jump straight into the question that everyone is asking, well, certainly I'm asking, is how exactly was the definition of customer success from your perspective? Because there are more than a few people out there who'd be thinking, what exactly is that? From your perspective as an expert in the field.
Well, I think it starts with thinking about customer support. Most people would be familiar with getting technical support or customer support, and it's a reactive function.
Yeah,
you only get that you only get that support when you reach out and ask for it. Customer success is different because it's proactive. So a good customer success team measures the health of their accounts, and it's a long-term, scientifically engineered and professionally set up way of making sure that each customer account actually achieves its objectives. And look, in practice, it's a function that combines aspects of marketing, somewhat sales because we want the accounts that we're working with to grow. But also underneath all of that, it needs professional services and training and support as part of the whole function. But really, it's about long-term sustainable growth because as much as we want customers to grow, we want our own business to grow, but we know that one can't succeed without the other.
Yeah.
But yeah, the key difference from the customer's perspective is that there is an expectation of proactivity that will be ahead of the customer and understand where they're going and what their account health is at any given moment in time.
Yeah. I suppose, I mean, the clue is in the term, but it's not as obvious as you might think. The clue is in the phrase customer success. Their success is your success. And
Correct.
you make it your business for that to happen, to set in place all the things to make that happen. And one would hope that if your customer success with VideoMyJob in this instance, you've anticipated their needs ahead of time because you've seen problems come up with perhaps other customers, and everything that you learn from every new customer helps to help those new customers in succeeding. Is as simple as that.
I think it's critical too, particularly in the industry that you and I are in, Stephen, specifically with video. I've certainly taken on a challenge with a profession that's relatively new and reasonably misunderstood.
Yeah.
In a field, video in recruitment, that is relatively new and reasonably misunderstood. I seem to be a bit of a sucker for big challenges.
So, with regards to employers and agency recruiters, where do you begin a customer success journey, and how important is it for you to fully understand their businesses? You know, whether it's an employer like, say, Siemens, or an agency like Hayes or Robert Walters. How important is it for you and your customer success team to understand what they do as a business?
It's important from the context that VideoMyJob, for instance, is a tool built by recruiters for recruiters.
Yeah.
However, what we've seen over time is that the customers that have really adopted video have actually seen the rest of the video success flywheel, which is employer branding videos feeding into making your recruitment job ads more successful, having a great strategy for having onboarding to make your actual eventual recruitment more successful, feeding through into using it as a general comms tool so that your whole business becomes more familiar with using video in general. Filling out the rest of that flywheel to make the whole thing accelerate and work better is probably the first part of my consultation with any new customer. It's understanding where they're at in that journey. Because even if you only start with one of those types of use cases, that's fine. That's really good. It's great that you're starting somewhere.
Yeah.
But actually the objective in terms of achieving long-term success and really adopting video is about building out all of those use cases and making them work together kind of harmoniously.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So as a recruiter myself, if I had something on my headstone, then it would say, you know, Stephen O'Donnell, recruiter. If I had it on the passport, that's what it would say, even though I don't personally recruit anymore, but it's what I am at centre. And anyone who's been a recruiter tends to regard anyone else as civilians, you know, people who well, they don't know because they weren't there, man. But when you're working in the sector and you get that insight, then you do see that people who have been sitting in front of candidates day in, day out, interviewing and selecting people for career roles, then they have a certain perspective on the world. And you'll be in touch with those people on a day-to-day basis, all day, every day, I would imagine.
Yeah, and I think in particular, that's one of the things that I've actually really enjoyed about being in this role, working with recruiters. Because I mean, give yourself some credit. You are in recruiting. You did a pretty good job of recruiting me for this. But recruiters are such a competitive bunch.
Can I just pause you there? Was it you said I did a really good job? Because I want to write that.
But no, I was just saying what I love about working in this particular role in this industry is that recruiters by nature are just such a competitive bunch. It's just forcing me to push everything to the limit and learn really quickly. So that's actually one of the joys of this role. the ambition.
Recruiters are competitive, ambitious, and do get frustrated quite easily, and can also be quite skeptical of highfalutin promises that don't come around. So there's all sorts of emotions flying around when recruiters are using technology, and they want it to work straight away. They assume that it's going to do everything that they thought it would, but they wouldn't need to put any input into it. They would just flick a switch, and all of a sudden they would have 10 golden candidates pushed out the other end of the machine. But it is the case that when you're in customer success and you're working with these types of individuals, and I include myself in that you need to bring them along. You need to get adoption rates at a level where people are investing themselves in the product and will put themselves out to that it'll make the product work. And if they don't, they're just not. It's not going to happen. So you need to gain their trust. That must be a real challenge from a customer success perspective.
I think the biggest challenge out of all is actually being perceived as a technology company or as just a product. Because sure, learning the product is one thing.
Yeah.
And no product is ever perfect. I mean, there are some great products out there. I'd like to think that VideoMyJob is the leading product on the market for its use case.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, if you're totally caught up in the product, you're missing the bigger picture, because I'm completely confident that I can teach you easily how to adopt the tool and make great videos.
Yeah.
But what's the use of making a great video if nobody sees it? So actually, there's a whole other half of the picture, which is, what's your strategy?
Yeah.
What are you going to do
to
make sure that the right people see your videos?
Yeah.
So one of the biggest challenges in my role at the moment is actually getting people to shift their thinking and stop focusing so much on the product and stop focusing on themselves and what they look like and whether the video is right. It's like that's the production quality is not important. What's important is the message, and have you targeted that message at the right audience? That's actually what is going to be the difference between the success or failure of your video.
I agree entirely, and it should be the case that, so with a platform like VideoMyJob, the concerns that people have about the recording, the quality, putting things together, and the ultimate video looking good or excellent. The platform should get that out of the way so that they can then focus on the things that they want to do with that content in terms of distributing it to where they want it to go, and measuring the success of it, and knowing what's working and from that, and being able to replicate that and get more creative as they go along. So that comes down to your department, where you're looking at that longer term planning for success, that strategy, as you say, where people are the real return on investment.
Yeah, it comes down to if you're particularly again in the case of recruitment, one of the best things a recruiter can do is get the hiring manager on a video. If you've got a hiring manager on a video and you are both there and you are both authentic and believable, that's gonna trump any level of production value that you can possibly throw at it. It's all about authenticity and believability. If you've got candidates there looking at looking at a video of one or a pair of people who are really posing or really trying to sell the role rather than find the right person for the right role, they're gonna leave. But if you've got people who are saying, this is a great opportunity for these reasons, and we're really looking forward to finding the right people to work with us, that's a whole different conversation, and that's the effective conversation. Yeah.
So you're based in Melbourne, but
correct.
VideoMyJob with clients worldwide in every time zone. How do you manage that? How can that be handled?
It starts with automation. We love the data. So the data gives us the chance to get ahead. Going back to what we were talking about before about the difference between being a reactive and a proactive function. It's always good to know ahead of time how our customers are traveling. It's incredibly important for us also to enable customers quickly so that you can adopt the tool without us necessarily being there 24/7. And look, to be honest with you, I don't think anyone who's even slightly familiar with the tech industry will blink at the fact that occasionally there are some late nights. Over my 20 or 25 years in tech, I've learned to treat myself like a mobile phone battery. The tip is nano naps. You've got to just give yourself a quick plug in and recharge every now and again. I've learned to sleep wherever and whenever. But I think also it's about making sure that there is planning and understanding involved. For instance, I knew before this call, I knew that there was a time slot that I had to be ready for. So the nano happened.
Yeah.
I think the other thing too is that you want to, true. But I think a bigger thing too is building networks within our customers' accounts, because we have customer accounts that range anywhere from just a single person to a large global organization.
Yeah.
I think the ability to enable some leaders within the organization, some real super users, takes the pressure off what is often the cause of friction in any account, which is my stuff doesn't work. Quite often stuff doesn't work for relatively simple, relatively preventable reasons, and we can enable customers to make sure that those reasons don't happen. And what that means from a customer success perspective is that we're no longer performing just a basic reactive support function, regardless of what time zone we're in. The time that we spend on those accounts is time spent on the strategy. Is the customer achieving their goals? What are those goals? How are they being measured? That's the kind of work that should be the majority of our time, not necessarily support. But here at VideoMyJob, we do have 24/7 support ticketing, so we've got you covered.
Excellent. So, but yeah, that anticipation of likely issues that could come up and addressing them ahead of time means that you're fighting fires far less than you might otherwise. In the old days, you might have that complaints department or customers support that when something goes wrong, they're there for you. If you have good customer success, then that takes the bulk of those issues out of the way. So that really only the absolute emergencies need to be handled at odd hours of the day.
Fundamentally, we're here to help you deliver a strategy, not a support service. The support service is one of the things that underpins making the strategy work, but the actual objective is to help you deliver a strategy. So that can be done at any time. So
as an enterprise product, I know that you firmly believe that customer success is a crucial revenue generating part of any business. Obviously, VideoMyJob or indeed any other company, but that in that you're in partnership with the customers, you're putting together a plan that makes things work for them so that their businesses grow. So it's in your interest. But how does that work in practical terms?
Well, first of all, the customer needs to see the value in investing in customer success. And I think the best analogy there is that if you think about adopting any new piece of technology, there's a learning curve. Now, when you purchase a piece of technology, there's often a lot of resistance to actually taking on the extra services. I think it feels to a customer like they're being asked to spend more money for no particular benefit. But if you think about the process of adoption, particularly when you are taking on an enterprise level strategic tool and not just something that's a bit plug and play, like a video strategy, the actual if you analyze the internal cost of what it takes for you to invest your time and effort and therefore your salary at the rate of your salary in training you and others in your organization, and then the ongoing analysis of the health of your account and the performance of your account, it's actually cheaper for you to outsource that work to us. We're cheaper than you are, and that's really at the nub of it. And while you might be very good over time at managing that strategy without our help, in the beginning, you're not the experts that we are. So we're not only cheaper, but we're also more efficient at delivering the outcomes that you want. And to be really clear as well, Stephen, the other thing that also is understood about customer success is it's actually our objective to make ourselves redundant. So in the first part of the relationship over the first year or two, we might be heavily involved, and you might want to heavily invest in customer success to get your adoption right and get going. But over time, our objective is to make ourselves unnecessary.
Yeah.
When you get to that point where you're like, we don't need you anymore, that's really good news for us. We're happy with that because that's the objective achieved.
So the goal is that clients become self-sufficient.
If they want to be, some customers never want to be. They want to keep our consulting services engaged because that works out better for them. But most people are reticent to pay for additional services, and it's their objective to eliminate that cost over time, and that's great. We fully support that, but we try and make sure that starts in the right way, which is with an initial investment, and that way we can significantly reduce the overall cost over time of what it took you to actually adopt the technology and deliver great strategies.
So that's the big differentiator, if we can get the word out, between an organization that says, well, I can record videos on my phone, and I can then,
which is true,
I can upload it to YouTube. But the biggest difference, and obviously the technology is a big factor, but the biggest difference is that that experience that VideoMyJob has in making adoption and ultimate success from the product. Product being the videos is business critical. That's the crucial difference, that the customer success team is there to make sure that this is it's not just the toy, it's a means of propelling your business forward.
Yeah, that's a good call. I think it really resonates when I have that discussion that it's not a toy discussion. The analogy that I use is, particularly in recruitment, if you think about an applicant tracking system, I mean, you didn't know how to use it when you first saw it. It might have been somewhat intuitive, but there was still a period of time where it took you to go from being a cost of a person not using that system particularly well to being a profit center of a person who now knows how to use that system particularly well. So my view on that is it's exactly the same with video. You start out not knowing much and not being particularly efficient and effective with it. And over time, you bridge that gap from being a cost to a profit. And you do it by practicing it and treating it like a business tool, because that's what it is. That's what video is now. It is a business tool and it needs practice.
Fantastic. We have a question from one of the viewers, Alan Whitford. Alan Whitford, I should pronounce it properly. Alan asks, now it's not so much a customer success question, but very much on videos and job adverts. So sorry, I missed the beginning. Have you covered how candidates will actually find and interact with video jobs? So video job adverts, how will candidates find them if they're looking for them? So from my perspective, I would say that you will increasingly see the video job adverts on the regular job board as you do on Monster now. But right now, where you'll see them most commonly is not only social media, but on employers' own websites. What about from your perspective, Bodin?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, the distribution channels are becoming much broader. So it's not just job boards anymore. If you have a really good video SEO strategy on YouTube, there's lots of ways in which you can boost and promote videos. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, even Snapchat. And look, I don't think TikTok's a format, but these things are all in scope. In terms of I probably won't go too far down that path. 15 seconds is not a lot of time to get valuable content across. It's hard enough doing it in 60 seconds. In terms of what Alan's asking about, how candidates will actually find and interact with the video jobs, it comes down to the call to action. So there are three components to every great video, and one of them is the hook, getting people interested in watching. The next one is the what's in it for me, which is, why should I keep watching this video? What's the value to me as the individual watching it? And thirdly is there's the call to action. So you've made a video because you want to impact somebody's behavior. You want them to do something. And we have the apply now link baked in to the actual way in which the video is produced and promoted across all those channels. And really the objective is we want them to click on that call to action and do the thing that we want them to do.
The other crucial thing from a candidate's point of view is that candidates more than ever are researching because they have the tools to. They're researching companies that they're considering applying to, or that they've already applied to, and they're going on for interviews. And in that research, one of the key places they'll go to will be the YouTube channel of that employer. So not only the employer's website, but their YouTube channel, and they look at the variety of content that's on there that tells them more about the organization they're considering joining or applying to. It tells them about the people who are working there, the sort of projects they're working on, tells them the ethos, what the company is about, why the company does what they do. And all of those things go into the melting pot. So whether you're looking at a specific job advert or the range of videos across the piece from an organization, then all of those are already in the research mix of any candidate considering any move. So if you were looking at a vacancy with some of the big consulting and investing or accountancy firms, like say Ernst & Young, then if you go to their YouTube channel, you'll find out acres about them, more than you ever could through whatever email they'd be sending to you, telling you about the organization. So people are doing the research right now, but video is a great way of meeting that need. The need is there, the appetite is there, and if you can provide the content, then that certainly covers that. Can I ask, Bodin, I saw you in a video that you'd recorded the other day, and it kind of gave me a hint to it. How comfortable are you personally in front of the camera when you're filming yourself, if you're recording?
I've learnt to accept having a face like a carved pumpkin, and that comes from about 20 years ago doing a brief stint in a film and TV acting course. I had delusions of grandeur that I could be an actor. That didn't work out, but it certainly taught me a few skills about getting over myself, just accepting me for who I am, and that the external stuff is actually not what really matters. It's about the message and what you give to others. I think Greg Savage was really good. He did the 60 Savage Seconds post a little while back about video is not about what you get, it's about what you give. So that's very much the ethos that I try and take into it, and that just helps me forget about any of my stuff going on. It's not about my baggage, it's about what I'm giving to others.
I think people, they need to remember that if we were standing face to face with each other in the pub or wherever, then you're seeing me exactly looking like this, and I'll see you looking like that. And at no point are we any more self-conscious than we might ordinarily be, because we know that's what we look like. And when people see themselves on camera, that's the surprise, because people aren't walking around with a mirror all the time. So right now I can see my face, and I can pick up on all the things. And I was at the barber's earlier on, so I'm thinking, it's a bit on the short. So you're on video, you tend to see yourself back a lot more than you usually do. So that's the thing. In the same way as when you hear yourself on tape, recorded your audio, you think, does that sound like me? Well, it does sound like you. You're just not used to hearing yourself. And as you say, once you get over that, then you can focus on sharing content, flipping it over. Alan's just saying here, flipping the equation.
Important question.
Objections of in-house marketing and governance teams who want to control the look and feel of recruitment video rather than letting recruitment teams get on with it to as it reflects corporate identity. How would you answer that, Bodin?
Getting the stakeholders to really help the recruitment marketing governance teams to understand two things, and one of them is that we're offering them an opportunity to adopt a solution that actually helps them achieve their marketing goals, but at a very, very low cost compared to professional video. Yes, you can invest £5,000 in creating the perfect professional video, but is it actually any more valuable to your overall strategy than an in-house video done with a tool like VideoMyJob? So that's point number one. No, that's right. You're behaving very well. These are good questions. But the other really important question too is that I think some governance teams feel like it's a little bit like the Wild West out there with video. But we have all the corporate governance built into the product. It is an enterprise program. We can control who publishes. We can control the branding. In fact, that's one of the great things about our tool. The branding is built in to the product. So we know that the leaders of the program can manage and control the output, and the upside is you are achieving 99% of the same results, if not better results, than you would with much more expensive professional solutions.
Yeah, perfect. Can I ask, in your role within VideoMyJob, you will see companies going from 0 to 100 miles an hour in terms of usage of video. Can you tell us any surprising or dramatic stories of that you have with users of video?
I had a customer who's actually just recently returned to us after a little bit of a hiatus, pick up the phone and call me yesterday, and it was great to hear from him. And he started talking about wanting to re-engage, and he said, "Yeah, so we've had one of my previous recruiters die on the program."
Ooh.
And I just went, "What?" And he said, "Yeah, you know, Di, who used to make all the videos, Diana." And I was like, "Oh, thank you for making that clear. I thought you were telling me of a tragedy." So that was a little bit dramatic. I think probably the best story is that I see, or that I've personally been involved in, is when I've been involved in training a group, and I've walked away from the group just thinking, they're never going to get over themselves. They're never going to get on video. And then when you see that adoption process happen for those people, and they get out there and you see them making really great videos, that's end game for me. That's what I love to see.
Fantastic.
But yes, I haven't had any recruiters die on the program yet, but I have had a recruiter called die. That was an important distinction that I missed on that call.
Very important, very important. Bodin, so we've now gotten to the point where we're going to talk about our videos of the week. People will see some links in the top right-hand corner of some videos of the week. I'm going to share my screen, so I've set up a couple of them over here. So let me just do this right now. Bear with me, get the technology working. So I'm going to share this. So the first, actually, before we go on to that, can you see my screen?
I can. I hope the audience can.
Excellent. I'm just going to make this a little bit larger on screen. There we go. Before we go on to that, can I just I found a couple of things about Bodin earlier on as I was checking out for this show. Here is Bodin coming off. And
you had to pick that photo, didn't you?
look at the strain in those calves there. That's quite a spill. But more of a hero shot would be this. Look at this. That's really something. I saw that there was a pulled out version on the rock that you were up there, which was it looked absolutely bloody immense. So that's quite the hero shot. So let's not embarrass you anymore. So we'll go back to our videos of the week.
Thank you.
So a couple of videos of the week. I need to have the audio up for the beginning of this one, so I won't play the whole video, but it's a great example of sharing personality and a bit of bubbliness and engaging people right at the very beginning. It's okay to be a little silly, but also, you know, you can be serious at the same time. So this is obviously Robert Walters. Let's just play this.
Hi, I'm Emma. And I'm Emma. And together we are the Emmas. And we know you've all been sitting in the seats waiting for the next Emma's installment. We'll wait no longer because it's finally here. It's been a busy few months here.
I'll just turn this down a little bit here. But what we can see here with the Emmas is obviously these girls are totally full of personality with Robert Walters. This girl here is very Scottish and this girl here very Australian, which is, for me, I love seeing it. But at the same time, they're talking about the business. They're talking about what's going on and top interview tips. What people can be doing in going through the interview process. So in terms of this, the Emmas are putting out regular interview tips and advice. It's great to see from a firm that to be honest, Robert Walters can sometimes be seen as a little bit conservative. So having that kind of content going out there shows a different aspect to their personality, their culture as a company. They're helping candidates, but they're also showing that they can have a bit of fun with it, and it's great to be able to do that. Next video, if we could just go to here, RMIT University. Bodin, can you help me? What does RMIT stand for exactly? Because I'm going to get it wrong.
It is the Royal Melbourne Institute of Technology. So it's it's a tech focused university. It's just down the road from the grand old Melbourne University, but yeah, RMIT is the tech focused one.
Excellent. So I'll just open this up. The great thing about, oh, what the hell's going on with my? Here we go. The great thing about this video or RMIT is they have a phenomenal location and campus to be working in, and they've taken not only shots in their campus but around about Melbourne. So in terms of their B-roll, they've got audio going over the video talking about coming for this particular role with the organisation, but the B-roll footage is a fantastic way of really adding professionalism to the video clip. They've got all sorts of content they can add in here. They're not shy about adding it, and look how polished that is. Whilst at the same time, it's not overkill. You know, we've seen the woman at the start who's talking through the process, talking through the executive career, director they're looking for, and it's a really engaging video. You know what you're getting into. You know the organisation. You can see the hiring manager right there, and at the end they get to that vital call to action. You know what to do. You know who you're going to be applying to, and you know what the interview process is going to be. So, in terms of video of the week, I love that. I really love that. That and the Emmas are my my videos of the week.
Yeah, they're two totally different ends of the scale. The Emma's one was the classic simple approach to having that hook, which was the call out of where the Emma's, and then it goes into a really nice simple whiffing, because you can see that in the video they've chosen to not distract the viewer from their message. So it's a really nice simple message, and the background that they've chosen is great because it provides a bit of interest but doesn't take away from them. And I assume that there's a strong call to action at the end. And then the other extreme with the RMIT video, which is no surprise given they're an institute of technology, is that they've taken B-roll use to the absolute extreme. And that's fantastic that they've been able to do that with the platform.
Yeah. And above both of those, the lessons learned are that looking at other people's videos, how they record, what they do, the use of B-roll, the use of captions, the use of a well-scripted piece of content that you're going to talk about, so you know what you're doing in advance, means that you can really learn from these and take inspiration. Think, yeah, we can do a video. If they can do that, then we can totally do that. And all it takes is a bit of thought in terms of planning ahead. Right, this is the type of video we're going to record, and this is how we're going to think about it. So yeah.
The other thing that's great about that RMIT video, Stephen, was that they managed to pack all of that into 1 minute and 48 seconds. So for me, the red flag starts going up at about 90 seconds, 1.5 minutes. You don't want to go too far past that point, because all the videos, studies worldwide, whether it's for recruitment or anything else, they show that once you go past 2 minutes, the audience just starts to slide.
Yeah. One thing that we should point out, we have next week a survey that we've been carrying out on video trends and recruitment globally with Social Talent in Dublin. Social Talent are recruiter trainers, social media recruiter trainers, and recruitment trainers right across the board, and have clients in every corner of the globe. So we've been working with them closely on building the survey. We have all the facts and figures. We're now crunching the numbers. We're now putting it in a nice format, so it's going to be easily understood and great to share. So next week, those figures in that report are going to be coming out. If anyone wants to get their hands on that report as soon as it does come out, then get yourself to the VideoMyJob blog. If you subscribe there, then you'll get that information as soon as it appears. So I would definitely recommend doing exactly that, because as Bodin was saying more than a couple of times, if you go on supposition and idle chatter about what's going on in video and recruitment, then you could easily be led off track. But if you work on the data, then as Bodin's customer success team do, then you know what you're doing, you know why you're doing it. So the data on trends in video is very, very important for anyone who's in a decision-making position and thinking, right, well, what are our plans going to be? Are we going to be on this train? Or are we going to miss the bus? Really vital there. So Bodin, we've gone a little bit over time, but before we wrap up, can I ask, we always ask, do you have any technical tips and tricks that anyone recording video for recruitment, onboarding, training, employer branding, anyone recording those kinds of videos, what tip would you have on producing great video content?
Have your gallery organized. So on your phone, I have a gallery for VideoMyJob that has content in it, such as both photos and videos that I often add. We also are building a shared asset library into the platform to suit the enterprise, but as the individual, it's nice having a few photos and a few bits of B-roll video that I can always just add easily to spice up my videos. So that would be one tip that I think a lot of people don't think about when they first sort of get ready to record. It's like, okay, well, you're going to move straight into editing straight after you finish the recording part. So do you have all your photos and videos organized in a way that you can easily add them in? So yeah, organize the gallery on your phone and make sure you've got any additional content ready to go. So if you that'll cut down your total video production time.
So if you've got little video clips that you can drop in as overlays or images that you want to drop in, having those also.
I mean, it's even simple stuff like a lot of them, for instance, are short little GIFs that I add in of instructional things where, like you probably can't see that, but that's a short recording, a screen recording of me showing people how to use the Help Hub. Because a lot of my videos are obviously quite instructional to our customers, but whatever it is for you, if you have it in a folder in your gallery on your phone, whether it be an Android or an iOS device, just make it easy to find and that'll cut down your total time in making the videos.
Perfect. My top tip for the week, I'm going to show this on screen here so you can see my mobile here. If I pull down from here and then choose to record the screen itself, so if I record the screen, have I pressed that correctly? There we go. So we record the screen. This will record everything that's on this screen here, and this will make a short video. So if I wanted to, I'll just get the right thing here. If I wanted to record this section from our website, I can grab a quick 10 seconds, and it's got a video in it itself. So I can then record that, stop that video, and that little video clip I can then use as an overlay to drop into any video that's being made. So if you had an instructional video that you wanted to make in terms of showing someone how to do something on a mobile phone, for example, then it's a great way of grabbing that footage in your gallery. You can trim that down to, say the 10 seconds of footage that you want to use, and then drop it into any video that you're making. And of course, in doing that, it's already on the phone. It means that you have the content exactly where you want it, and it's in a format that you can do it. One last thing on that: if you record a screen grab from there like this, then on, for example, VideoMyJob, if you're making a video that's landscape, then this actually fits perfectly into half of the screen. So you can have half of the screen with that video there, and half of the screen, as you can see in this show here, has the person that's talking about the content. So it's a great way to make the right shape of content to show what you're going to be talking about. So that said, tech tips for the week. We have gone a little bit over time. We always go over time, I should say, Bodin. Another tradition that we have, Bodin, is that every guest that we have is always better than the one before. So you're definitely the very best guest we've had so far.
pretty hard to compete with Stephen Kossicar, but thank you. You too kind.
The week before that was very, very good, but we're getting better as we go along, mainly because I'm not nearly as amateur as I used to be. But great guest. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much, everyone who's joined us, Alan, and everyone else who's watching the video either live or in catch-up. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again next week. We will have another stellar guest, 4 o'clock next week. Who knows if they'll have to get up in the middle of the night like Bodin does. What time is it in Melbourne right now? Is it 1:45 in the morning?
Correct. 1:45 a.m. Yeah, 1:44.
Bodin, you best get to your bed. I'm going to make a nice cup of tea, and I'll catch you next week. Thanks for joining us. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye for now.
Bye.